Obviously, team owner Stone was very emotional at the news conference today. Were you aware that the team was facing the difficulty with the city?
Oh yeah, we're aware that there's a possibility of leaving, and that's just not good. Not good for us fans and the city.
Were you surprised to see him get so emotional at the news conference? And what was your take on what he said?
It was repetitive. He just wants to answer a simple question. Does Topeka want the RoadRunners here in the city? And if that's up to the commission and the Expocentre, then now the ball's in their court. I have no idea what they're offering or who's counter-offering what.
Yeah. So you're in from Manhattan. How many games do you make the trip sometimes to come in? Your season ticket holder from Manhattan. And do you ever see anything else at the Expocentre that you could say that is a draw other than the RoadRunners to you here?
No, this is the only reason I come to the Expocentre. Well, there's some horse shows on the other side that I bring my daughter to, but other than that,
yeah. And last question, what would it mean to you if they weren't able to work out a deal? Would it be a kind of a tough day, obviously, for you and the hardcore fans of the runners and the season ticket holders?
Yeah, it would be very hard because I'm from Michigan myself, so hockey is a natural thing. They're never going to get rid of it in Michigan.
Yeah.
So when I found it here, this was one of the reasons that I decided to retire around Fort Riley, was because there was a hockey team within an hour drive, so I could watch it.
Cool.
If they leave, that's cool stuff.
Were you aware of the uncertainty that the team was facing?
I am aware of the uncertainty because I'm a billet.
Okay. And what's your take on the situation, on what he said today?
It would be nice if we could get an answer, considering this doesn't just affect the Topeka RoadRunners, it affects my son who plays junior RoadRunner hockey, so we need to know what's going on with ice for him, whether we have to go to Kansas City or not.
Now forgive me for asking, you said you were a bullet. Does that mean you take in a player?
Yeah,
you house a player? Okay. What inspired you to do that?
We were asked to do it, so we did last year for the Capital team, and then they wanted us to go ahead and move up to the RoadRunners team, so we did that.
And last question, what would it mean to you if the RoadRunners in the city weren't able to strike a deal and this whole thing were to end?
It would be very emotional because I've grown attached to the RoadRunners, so it would be very sad to see them go.
He's right. If they have no intentions of working in good faith, he's basically beating his head against a brick wall. He's trying to get them to reply to the agreements and or the possible tenant landlord agreement, and he wants to stick around. His family's vested here in Topeka now. He's got kids that live here, some that are getting married here, so it all makes sense that they want to be involved and stick around in the community of Topeka.
Do you see any similarities to the last episode that the last hockey team had, or is this kind of a different situation?
This is a whole different scenario. The team, is going to the county in good faith, trying to figure out what's doable for both, and as it was stated tonight, they really haven't had any reply from the county.
Do you think that the Expocentre, do you attend the Expocentre for a lot of other events, or do you think that it needs an anchor tenant?
Some, but I think it needs an anchor tenant. Doing my research on the Expocentre when we did it before, when it was originally built, this was a fairgrounds complex. It was built as a quality of life issue, and I think by only worrying about the bottom dollar and not the quality of life for Shawnee County and the capital city of Topeka kind of goes against the original founding of why this complex was built.
Yeah.